talk some young guys that the Browns really need to step up and take a step forward in 2022 if it's going to be a successful season. I know you have three guys that you had in mind. Take us through it. DPJ, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Grant Delpit, Nick Harris. Take us through what you're thinking with them.
Yeah, I'm working on a piece on this, and I got to talking to Jared Mueller about this last night. Donovan Peoples-Jones, number one for me. They talked about how they want to overhaul the pass game, and for me, if it's going to be what it could be, right, it has to be partially because Donovan Peoples-Jones becomes what we all think he can be. We saw it in camp last year. It didn't really translate onto the field, partially because of maybe him, partially because of the quarterback position. Either way, for them to really be who they could be or reach their ceiling, no matter who's quarterback, right? They need him to be that big, athletic number 2 wide receiver. He can't underwhelm again, right? Like, he has to live up to that role. I think he will, but I think that's a guy that has to take a big step forward this year as far as the Browns go. And I think it's imperative to their success in the pass game.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And I think he kind of got force-fed into maybe even a number 1 receiver role because of everything that happened. And I don't think he was quite ready for that, but I think, a number 2, I can see that. Grant Delpit, safety, was another one.
Yeah, he lost a year, right? So he lost a year. So that makes this so critical, and especially if you look at the way the Browns defense played last year. So John Johnson had to play free safety early in the year, kind of took him out of what he's best at, right? He's best at being creative, playing up around the line of scrimmage, kind of freestyling a little bit. And when Delpit got healthy and started playing better in that free safety role, John Johnson played better, and the whole defense got better. At the end of the year, Delpit was really playing well, and the defense was hitting on all cylinders. If he can come out and fill that free safety role, and he has to perform because his timeline is cut short, right? So they have to look at him extension-wise. We're talking about a number 2 draft pick, like a second-round draft pick here, a guy that was potentially a first-round talent, we thought. Lost a whole year, so his timeline is crunched, right? He has to perform this year for the Browns to start looking at him as a long-term extension solution, and for this defense to play as good as they were at the end of last year, frees up John Johnson. I just think it's really critical that he makes that or continues that step forward that we saw at the end of last year.
Yeah, and I would agree. And keep in mind, you mentioned he's a second-round pick, so you don't have that fifth-year option. That's only for first years, so that's important to note as well. And the third guy, Nick Harris, and the more I think about Nick Harris, the more comfortable I am with him, just based on, he practiced with the ones all the time. When given the opportunity to play his position center, he looked pretty good against the Packers, against a really good team.
He did. I like him a lot. He's been there all offseason, right? I think they said he's put on 15 pounds of muscle. He's really been working hard at it. And how different will it be for the Browns to have a center that actually practices every day with the ones that's going to play on Sunday, right? Treader never practiced for the last 3 years or 2 years or whatever. So, and it's nice, to be honest, selfishly, I'm glad to get the NFLPA president out of here. That was kind of a pain in the rear end, you know what I mean? So to have him here, because everybody kind of had to back all of his causes and all that stuff. And here we are with their first full offseason program, So I think that Nick Harris will be good, but he has to step into that role for this offensive line to be what they are. And center's so huge, right? I do have a lot of confidence that he will step into that role, like you said, though. I think that the Browns do too.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons. They did hedge their bets with Posick, the backup, but that's fine.